Sometimes it pays just to slow the pace right down, and on today's adventure that's exactly what happened, due to some circumstances. But due to that slow pace, I got some great rewards. Hope you enjoy the video. Right. Hello. And this is one of the reasons I absolutely love Scotland. It's springtime, and I've driven up, finished work, it's Friday night, I finished work at about 5:30, 6ish, shut the laptop down and headed straight up here. I got a green pass from the boss and I'm going on an adventure tomorrow. I am hoping to go up a Munro that I've not been up probably in over 20 years. But more about that later on. Look at this. I am in the snow. It's lovely. It's not been a very good winter, but that's the good thing about Scotland. Even in the spring, you can get wee blasts of winter coming down. Last week, I don't know if you saw the video. What video did I do last week? It was beautiful and sunny. I cycled. I did a wild camp in Glenalmond. Hopefully you saw that. And it was it was about 18 degrees. The next day we went up to the same place with the family in the van, and we were in our shorts and t-shirts, sun cream on, even having a paddle in the river. But winter's come back. So yeah, on a serious note, you do have to be careful if you're heading out at this time of year, just when you think it's getting nice. It wasn't like this down where I come from in the cities. It was 8 or 9 degrees, so it's the winter hangs on for a bit longer, and I'm glad of that. So yeah, I'm going to get my cup of tea on. I've got the van all set up, as you can see, and yeah, I'll report back later on. But this is just fabulous. Look at this big smile. I love the snow. Right, cup of tea. Arriving late had its advantages, and the heavy snow just got heavier as I sat and had my cup of tea. It was those big daddy flakes, big 50p piece sizes of snow falling down, and there was no wind. It was magical. And I didn't sit in the van the whole time. I actually stayed outside and just watched the snow. It was mesmerising as it fell from the sky. Just absolutely lovely. A nice relaxing evening. And the gritters were out too, keeping that road clear. I didn't want to get stuck up here. After relaxing for a while and watching the landscape turn white, I eventually retreated to the van as darkness fell. I just sat in there watching the lighter snow now fall outside the van. It was lovely. Anyway, eventually it was time to get ready for bed, with the forecast being blue skies the following morning. I had the alarm set nice and early. Morning folks, it's about 7 o'clock and this is the reason I hate Scotland. The forecast for this morning was blue skies, no cloud, and one of the reasons I came up, and I've woken up and looking outside, it's still snowing. It's not been heavy. It was heavy snow last night for about an hour, and then it's been kind of footery snow throughout the night every time I've looked out, so it's all white out there, just a dusting really. It'll probably melt if that sun does appear, but yeah, I'm hoping that if I lie and just take it leisurely this morning before I get going, that weather forecast may appear. It's maybe just a bit behind time, but for now it looks pretty dank out there, so I'm just going to take my time getting my coffee and getting ready this morning. Oh, this is nice. Well, as you can see, I've eventually pulled my body out of my bed and put the bed up and started to get ready for this hike. It's getting nearer 9 o'clock now, and it's starting to clear a wee bit, so they're still hoping that forecast. The clouds still down over the tops, but I'm feeling pretty good that the cloud's going to clear and we're going to get a nice day. But I've got my coffee now. I'm going to have that, and then I'll probably get the bike and start heading up the glen, and I'll tell you a bit more about where I'm going. I've never actually been up this glen before, so yeah, I need to get going, and I'll report back later on and give you some more information of what I'm doing and how I'm doing it and all that sort of jazz. But for now, I just need to get my caffeine intake up and then get all my gear ready to go. So I'm just going to enjoy this, and the views, wow, what a place. With the weather not being as clear as I'd thought, the nice leisurely start was lovely, and I headed off on the bike. And one of the things I was a bit worried about the night before was that the snow might cover the track, which might make the cycle up the glen a little bit more interesting, but it was almost perfect. There was just enough of the white stuff to cover the grass and the surrounding mountains, but on the track itself it hadn't actually lain, so it made the cycling lovely. It was a very, very nice morning, although that cloud was being a bit persistent, so I wasn't exactly rushing up the glen and up the hill at this point. Well, I tell you what, there's a few ups and downs in this path. Not as nice as those other tracks I was on the last few weeks on the bike, but anyway, yeah, with all those ups and downs I'm a bit warm, so I'm going to take a layer off. I've got my 2 new jackets on today. I don't know if you noticed, I went for yellow and yellow for the new jackets, but yeah, I wouldn't say the temperature's rising, but my temperature's rising, so I'm going to stop here and take them off before heading up the glen. I'm probably about halfway up here, so let's get these off and I'll tell you where I am. Right, let's put this down here. Yeehaw, roasty toasty. Oh, that feels a bit better. Oh yes. So where am I? I'm in Badnoch, I think it's Badoch Glen, I think. Or Glen Badach or Badoch. It's just off Glenshee. And the Munro I'm going up is one called Socach, which I've only done once before, but that was many years ago before I had knee issues. Did I mention my knee? Before I was as unfit as I am now. And years ago we did 5 Munros starting down at the Spittal of Glenshee, and this was the last one. We did it in a anti-clockwise direction. That was an epic day. So I've never actually been down this way. So I love coming to places. It's the thing about any mountains, Munros, Corbetts. A lot of people will go up them once and that's it, which is fine. There's been, like this one, I've only been up it once. But there's so many different sides to mountains, there's so many different ways in. And you see a different side to the mountain. Well, you can see a different side to the mountain even if you go up it the same way because of the weather conditions and what have you. But yeah, I'm excited because I've never been up this way, and although I've done it many moons ago, it feels like a new route for me. So yeah, I'm going to shut up and get further up the glen. I'm basically going right to the top of the glen so I can cycle as far as I can before heading up the hill, because my knee, well, I'll talk about my knee later on, I'll give you an update on that. So right, let's get going. Oh yeah, let's go. I am so unfit. So unfit because I've not been on the hills. Anyway, I'm quite pleased to camera. As you can see behind me, I'm steadily making my way up the glen. And I think there is about an ascent of maybe 200 metres from here to the point where I'm going to leave the bike. And I've still got another kilometre or 2 to go over there, up that way. Cloud's still down. I've got a funny feeling some of the higher tops might be above the cloud this morning. But we'll see if the one I go up still has cloud in it by the time I get there. I think it's breaking up, it's slowly getting brighter, but I've really just stopped to do this bit to camera to catch my breath. Oh, I need to get my fitness back. Right, let's go on, I'll show you where I've got to go. Still to go way up there. Coming backwards and forwards for the camera doesn't help either. Right. I must admit, I was absolutely knackered. This cycle was taking it out of me. Anyway, as I stopped here, I saw a massive eel coming down the glen, but I never got the camera out in time. That's the best I got of it. Right. This is where the path splits. I'm going to be heading up here. Looks a bit rougher, so it's time to ditch the bike and yeah, get the poles out and start walking. So let's get the bike over here. I'll hide it behind this rock, I think. Report back in a minute. Whoa! Oh, my legs. Stay away. Oh, it's deep heathers here. Oh. So I'm going to just pop the bike down here. I'm not a bit concerned, but this is a test for my knee. I know I've done this before. I've been off the big hills, well, off hill walking for about 5 weeks now. I've had 2 physio appointments. I've been working hard on my physio exercises, and the physio told me that I needed to test it. So the reason I've done a bike and hike today is it's about 350 metres from here up to the summit. As always, it's always coming down, it's going to test the knee. And I thought if I brought the bike, it means if I get here, I don't have to walk all the way down, I can just freewheel down. So that's the reason I'm here. So keep your fingers crossed for me, because I'm really hoping that my knee isn't sore. As I said, I won't know until I'm coming off the summit and going downhill, but fingers crossed these exercises have helped. And I've got something else which the physio's given me, but I'll reveal that at the summit. Let's do this down here. Oh, here comes the sun. Here comes the sun. Definitely need my poles. I always use these for my knees. Oh, I tell you what, I am not fit. It's amazing how much just being off the hills for a few weeks or a few months can do to your hill fitness. As I've said before, there's only one way to get hill fit, and that's to get out in the hills and do it. And I have not been doing that, so I'm suffering the consequences, I tell you. Right, let's get up here. Let's do this. Ooh. Through the mist I go. I can just about see where I'm going, I think. I'll spin you around in just a second. Oh yeah. Oh, squelchy, squelchy. Right. Oh, it's starting to clear now. The fog was just sitting on the hillside. I'm starting to get above it. I think it's just between layers. So this is the summit just over here. I go up this ravine and then up onto the summit ridge. So yeah, hopefully not too far. It looks close, but that can be deceiving, especially in this sort of weather. I think I'm going to stop actually. Although it's not sunny yet, I am starting to struggle. My eyes, when I say struggle, my eyes are getting strained with the white on the ground. So I'm going to put my sunglasses on here and maybe put this on as a headband because I'm sweating a wee bit. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Get my sunglasses on. Let's go. So I'd stopped to get the sunglasses out because it was starting to get a little bit brighter, but no sooner had I taken them out that the cloud rolled in again. It seemed to be kind of, wasn't sure if it was going to lift or not. Anyway, I soon got to a bit of hard packed snow which was covering a stream, and I gingerly made my way across into the thickening mist. I was taking my time though, because I knew that a forecast would come right at some point, and the longer I took, the more likelihood that the summit would be clear and I'd get some views by the time I got up there. Anyway, for the time being, it was through the mist. I just come across this little, it's obviously just a gully which is carved out by a stream, and there's a stream down there, but all the snow's filled in and I could hear the water underneath me, so you've got to be careful. There's a few times that it's just bridges across the stream, so that's why I was kind of using the poles to check the snow in front of me, but it's all pretty hard packed, so onwards we go, on to the top hopefully. Woo! Let's go. It's been on the summit ridge now. I can see the summit I tell you what, I'm going as slow as I can because there's virtually any wind up here. It's very still. The forecast was for it to be clear, so I'm thinking the longer I take, the more chance that something's going to clear. But yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be lucky or not. It might clear, it might not. So let's get up there and see what happens. So I headed really, really slowly. My pace couldn't have been slower along the summit ridge. And after an eternity, I was approaching the summit. And you know what? I think I timed it just right because it looked like the cloud was clearing and I was going to get some nice views from the summit of Socach. The summit, I think. of Socach, yes, beautiful. There's actually another cairn over there, I can't remember which one, maybe 50 metres that way there's a cairn. I'll go and touch that. As I said, it's been 20 plus years since I've been here, but it's just lovely. So I'm going to sit down and get a bite to eat. Just love this area now. I've kind of fallen in love with this area again. Not that I fell out of love with it, but in the last couple of years I've just kind of found myself being drawn back here. It's just such a nice area, especially when there's a wee coat of snow. It feels very, I don't know, Scandinavian, I suppose. It just gives it that extra bit of, I don't know, oomph. I don't know. And I'm going to shut up, sit down here and have something to eat. Fantastic, right. Bite to eat. I had the summit to myself for a wee bit and just took some pictures and time lapse. But before long I could see some more people coming up to the summit, so I saddled my backpack and headed a wee bit down the hill to do another piece to camera. Well, the sun's coming out now. I timed that just perfectly. Just as I got to the summit it cleared. I don't know if you remember the bit of camera I did. It was the summit was in the cloud when I was approaching it, so the sun is now coming out, which is lovely. I've just come off the summit. There was 2 or 3 other people coming up, so I didn't want to look weird by speaking to the camera. But yeah, I was saying I just love this area now, especially this time of year. Well, not this time of year, but when there's snow on the ground, it's just lovely. And although it's not got the jagged peaks of the west coast or the places like Glencoe and the Coolin, I don't know, it's just something more. You feel a bit more remote out here, although you're not. And the hills are quite accessible. I mean, from where I live, I can get here in about 50 minutes, under an hour. And I've cycled in this glen and I feel like I could be in the middle of nowhere. It's lovely, it really is. And on a day like today where there's no wind, the sun's shining, I can see the hills, it's just perfect. So I've walked about 100 metres from the summit, my knee's okay. But let's see how it fares on the downhill sections and I'll report back and let you know. I'm going to descend back down now, slowly again, taking in the views back to the bike. Might take some pictures as well. What a day. After taking some pictures, I headed back down towards the bike, and this was the bit that was really going to test the knee. It was quite steep here, and a lot of that snow had melted away in the short time. Well, maybe not short time because I'd taken ages to get up to the summit. So I was just taking my time again, this time just to try and see how my knee would hold out. I didn't want to go too fast, and the sun was getting brighter and brighter, so that pace was doing me well. It was helping my knee, and it was allowing the weather to improve. It was just a fabulous afternoon now. There's something special about this time of year when you can still get the lambing snow, and then by the afternoon the sun comes out and it can heat the glen up quite quickly. Lovely. Anyway, before long I was descending back down and getting close to getting back to the bike and that freewheel back down the glen. Ah, the bike. Hurrah! Right. Well, you can see the snow's got a fair shift down here, south facing. and it's yeah, there wasn't much this morning, but it's clear now. I can see where I'm going, but what a difference it makes with no snow on the ground. So I'm delighted to say I have had no knee pain, which is, I can't tell you how happy I am with that, but I'll report back a bit later on, because there's something else which I've done today which might have helped that. But I'm going to get back down to the van first and get a coffee on, and I'll let you know what that is. Right, let's get stuff ready for the bike ride. Pulls away. Having got my stuff away and into my backpack, it was now time to get on the bike, and I tell you what, the cycle back down was lovely. There was a few wee up sections, but yeah, all that hard work cycling up the glen was now being rewarded with this downhill, fast, speedy descent to the van, and I was kind of glad that I had the bike, and I'm kind of glad as well I hadn't got up super early and rushed up the hill, because yeah, I wouldn't have enjoyed this clear weather. It really was turning into a fantastic day. It had been really, really fun, especially up in the hills with those views of the white-capped mountains. Anyway, after a speedy cycle, I was getting back down to the floor of the glen and approaching the road where I'd head back to the van. Oh, right, back in the van, coffee on, I've just had a Scotch egg, only had one though, that was good, the other one in there, and it was quite a nice cycle back down the glen. You might have seen some footage of that. It wasn't totally smooth, there was a few wee up bits, but certainly the pain I went through cycling up there, God, that was tough this morning. I don't know why I was struggling so much, but anyway, I was going to say what else I've been doing to, God, it's chilly, I'm getting cold. What else I've been doing to maybe help my knee, and I've told you that I'll maybe do a video on it at some point, but that's a hybrid walk. I've put that as an easy one to start off with. I have been in this position when I went up Stack Polly, remember, I thought my knee was fine, but I don't know, just felt better, no pain at all. I cycled in so I could cycle back out, and it was maybe about 350 metres of ascent, so not a big test, but certainly the first time I've not had pain since before Christmas, which is great. The other thing which I've done which is different is the physio that I'm seeing showed me how to put some KT tape on, or kinesiology tape on my knee, so I've got a bit of tape on there, whether that's helped or not, but I really have been doing the physio exercises 3 times a week, and it's a proper workout. So yeah, fingers crossed that this is the road to recovery. Anyway, you can see there's no snow here anymore, it's all melted. It's a bit like what it was like when I got here yesterday, but that's spring in Scotland for you. I had my ice axe, I had my crampons with me today. I didn't need them, but I could have needed them if there was just an extra bit of snow. I was lucky there was a break in the steeper part I could get through where there was heather. Had that not been there, I would have needed to put my ice axe and crampons on. So always remember to have them with you at this time of year, because you might think it's spring and summer back down wherever you live, but up here in the mountains that snow stays for a while, and it can be really icy and slippy, especially when it's been sunny and it's melted a wee bit and then frozen overnight. Anyway, here ends the lesson on crampons and ice axe. I've said it hundreds of times before, but if you've made it this far, thanks very much for watching. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you in the next adventure. Right, I'm going to have a lime. I think it's a milk chocolate lime bar now.